Okay, hi everyone, good afternoon. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. And in today's edition, this is another edition of the Expert Spotlight series. You know, right? You know how you do it. And on today's edition, we have drum rolls. We have Odunola Ewetola with us on this call. I'm sure if you're very conversant in LinkedIn, you would know Odun. She's our tax lady. She's always giving it to us back to back. On this call today, she's with us. Let me give you a bit about Odunola. Odunola is a chartered accountant. She currently works as a financial accountant at Team Ake. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, at Team Ake. And she's one person that is really, really smart and she's very good in taxation. So please, ladies and gentlemen, drag your seat closer, grab your pen, grab your pencil, grab everything you need to grab and come up, pay attention. Hi Odunola, how are you doing this evening? Good to have you on the call.
Hi, Petra. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you doing this evening?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well.
Okay. Yeah. Before we go into the tutorial, I just wanted to ask a bit of question that I feel like will be on a lot of people's mind. So you're someone that has quite a number of experience in taxation. What advice would you give to anybody that wants to pick a career path in taxation? What advice do you have for such persons? Would you even advise it at all? What advice do you have for that person?
Yes, I would actually. I would advise it because one of my mentors is actually Taiwo Daily, and then he's someone who I follow. Will I use the word back to back? Mm-hmm. So having someone like that, I believe there's so much future in taxation. And then if I would advise anyone, it is to tell you that number one, do not run away from problems, because taxation works hand in hand with problems. Do you get? Yeah. So taxation one, problem one. So that is it. So once you find yourself not running away from problems, you would always find yourself, solving these problems, and then you're good, you're fine. So that is my advice. Do not run away from problems and do not run away from responsibilities.
Wait, are you trying to say that there are a lot of problems in taxation? Is that what you're saying? The person should prepare his or her heart for problems.
Right? In the field, basically, actually, almost everything, we're actually solving problems now, Perpetua.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you so much for that. In today's edition, Odunola will be taking us through statutory obligations for employers and employees. So Odunola, please, you have the floor. Please do your magic.
All right, thank you. Please, how many, will I say minutes or hours do I have?
You have the entire day. You can teach us for the next 1 week. We're available.
Okay, no wala. So let's shoot.
Okay.
All right. For today's class, we'll be going through statutory obligations for employers and employees. So I have an highlight. So this is just an highlight of what I have. So we have the statutory obligations, employer statutory obligations, ITF explained, NSITF, pension. We have employee statutory obligations, step 2 computing an employee tax payable, sample of a payslip, payroll computation, and then add-on. Okay. So I'm trusting God I'll be able to cover all of this, because this is an entire topic actually. Okay. So moving into statutory obligations, one thing I believe is when there is a proper breakdown, there will be a better comprehension and also simplicity, because it leads to simplicity actually. So that's why I've actually broken it down, and then so the aim is just to explain to everyone as though we've never like a layman, to give a layman explanation, and then just for everybody to be able to benefit from it, like you've done it before, you've not, so just for everybody to be able to have a good grasp of it. So now I broke it down into statutory and then obligations. So when we're talking about statutory, what I wrote, I said statutory refers to anything lawful, regulated, mandatory, and legal. this is an activity that has been fixed by the law and must be done by the law. So, like I mentioned, just as the name implies, statutory, it is lawful, it is mandatory. So that is why we found ourselves in this position that yes, we have some statutory obligations. So going into obligations, with what I wrote, I said obligation refers to your responsibility as a citizen. So now, as a citizen, this actually cut across so many. It's cut across you being an employer, an employee. We have businessmen.
Yeah.
But now we are So now we are referring to employer and employee because those are our target audience right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I said generally, statutory obligations or contributions now refer to amounts mandated by law to be made by both employers and employees, in which failure to make these payments before deadlines would incur fines and penalties.
Yeah.
So so just as we have it right now, employers and employees, we definitely have a number of obligations for us to fulfill. And then the objective is just to be able to define those obligations, and then also to give a better explanation on those obligations, and also to take away different interpretations and the likes, just because of changes in Perpetua. You can also agree with me that we had several changes at the point to be like, is it what are we charging this percentage against? Is it against annual payroll? Is it against this? So there's been so many changes in the law. So, and the point is just for us to be on the same pedestrian. So now I wrote that I said we have PAYE, NHF, ITF, NSITF, NHIS, pension and the likes. So what I've done is to break this down. Statutory obligations for an employer as follows. So let me come back here. Fine, we have a list of everything here. So it's just for us to know that, okay, what do we have for employers? Mm-hmm. What are the obligations for employers, and what are the ones we have for employees? Okay. So because, and I'm sure you're also a witness to this, that we have, we shouldn't assume that we have a number of people that will be like, okay, some people can't differentiate probably their gross salary and their net salary. Mm-hmm. So many employees out there. So this is actually an avenue for each and every one of us to know the exact obligation, or this exact statutory obligation that should be deducted from our gross income. So now this would lead us to statutory obligations for an employer. Okay, I mentioned initially as follows. So for an employer, you have some obligation, you have some percentages that you had to charge, you had to charge yourself and not to charge your employee. So the first one comes to be the pension. So pension is, I wrote it there, pension is to be charged 10% on your BHT. And what do I mean by BHT? It is basic housing and transport. Mm-hmm. So I also wrote in brackets here, I wrote minimum because you can decide to charge your pension on your gross salary or whatsoever, but then on the minimum, what you're obliged to charge on is your BHT. Governed by 2004 pension reform. So we also have the ITF, 1% of your annual payroll, governed by ITF Act 1971, and then you have your NSITF, 1% annual emolument. So we have NSITF Act 1993 passed into law. So I would explain that better. Okay. I have a proper slide for each and every one of them, yes, so that we can understand. So I started my explanation with ITF. Okay. So recently I was just, when you uploaded on your community page, I think there was a requirement that if someone needed an accountant, and then if the person is versed with ITF, NSITF, all these things. Am I right?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah. So this is actually like an add-on to for anyone who is looking into like a position of a tax accountant or whatsoever. So when we're talking about ITF, so let me just take this first line item I wrote. I said ITF is under the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, where it is referred to as fund and then as stipulated by Decree 47. So please don't let me bore you. Let me just explain what it is and then their objective actually. So for ITF, it is more of training. Yeah. So ITF ensures like proper training, and then the objective of ITF is to ensure that there is a training consciousness in the economy. So let me repeat that. There's a training consciousness in the economy. And then one of the objective again is to ensure that employees are trained and skilled. They are trained and skilled, and then they're also generating enough skilled manpower. And then what do I mean by this? There are situations whereby let me start with all these COS, like industrial training, all these kind of things. So when you say a situation whereby a young graduate or someone still in school is trying to wants to work in an environment, and then the person is probably unable to, just because of the situation of the country rather, you're unable to secure even would I even use the word like a graduate training position whatsoever. So because of this, that is why we have like a training format. Training should be provided to individuals, it should be provided to employees, it should be provided to each and every like citizens. So that is one of the that is one objective. And also, just like what I wrote here, my internet connection. Can you still hear me, please?
Yes, I can, loud and clear.
All right. Okay, so that is that basically, because we still have a number of things to explain, so I don't want to take too much time with that. Okay. So basically, whenever ITF comes to mind, we should just ITF, it is all about training. And then, like what I wrote in the last, I said ITF exists in order to provide and promote acquisition of skills in industries, provide training, set training standards, and also certify skills acquired by employees. And you might just want to think about this, that okay, so why does my organization why do we need to register for ITF? Like, is it compulsory? It is actually, yes, it is needed. It is compulsory as far as you are more than 5 in your organization, as far as you have more than 5 employees in your organization. So it is necessary, it is compulsory. And again, what makes it compulsory? You have to know, when we talk about like parastatal A, parastatal B, C, so it is always according to how important something is. Okay, so in 1971, ITF was actually amongst parastatal B, but then just to show the importance that this is actually important, this training is important. Bringing skilled employees is also important. So as at 1981, it went up to being a parastatal A. So from parastatal B to parastatal A. So that shows how important ITF is to each and every one of us, and also to organizations. So I wrote here, I said registration criteria. So if you want to register for ITF, okay, so minimum of 5 staff. So if you have 5 staff, you can equally go to ITF office and then register your staff. By turnover, I said minimum of 50 million per annum. So this was a question I asked the ITF officials, like, okay, so what if we're not up to 5 and then we are also we've not made up to 50 million per annum. So does it mean that I can't register my company? So the answer was you can still register your company, because there are some companies that is just probably just one staff or two staff, and then their turnover could be like maybe 1 million whatsoever. So that's why we have the third one I wrote. I said registration by the purpose of bidding. Probably you just want to bid for a contract or whatsoever. So you can register via that too.
I think I have a question. If that is the
reason why you need an ID. Sorry?
I said I think I have a question.
Okay, I'm with you.
So these registration criteria that you wrote here, is it that we need to have just one of them, or we must have the two together? So for instance, now, what if I work in a company that we have 5 staff, but we don't have up to 50 million as revenue, as turnover? Do we still need to register because we've only met one of the conditions? What if I work in a place where we have 2, 3, 4 staffs, but we are making revenue, turnover of more than 50 million? Do we need to register? Do we need to satisfy all the criteria, or just one of them per time? Do you get a question?
Okay, that's a great question. Yes, I do. So you need to, it needs to be one of the criterias. One of the criterias.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So it is one of it. So if we are like 2-3 staff and then you were able to meet more than 50 million per annum, you can register. Yeah. So you just need to certify one of it, either 50 million per annum or minimum of 5 staff. So one out of the two.
One last question. I'm sorry. Okay. One last question. Okay. So the thing is, I'm wondering, like, aside the purpose of maybe you want to bid for contracts, what is the need for a company? Like, what's the motivation to say I want to go and register? Because to be honest, it's just me paying our money to the government. What is there any other thing extra that as a company, as an employer, I'm going to get from registering for ITF? Is there anything?
Okay, that's why I actually came to this slide. I just realized, okay, I didn't put it there. But then, let me. So what you're asking me is right?
Okay, no problem. We can just pen till we get there.
No. I'm with what you're asking, the benefit, right? Like, why do we really need to start with ITF?
Exactly, yeah. Why? As an employer, why do I need to?
Okay. Well, one of the benefits is for ITF, they usually have several programs, like several training programs. If you should go online now, you would see not less than 10 to 15 programs that is on their site. So it is actually for you. Let me use the word. Yeah, it is employers to to send their employees for those programs, like, because they didn't put up those program for themselves alone. So I made a list of those programs. Because there's even a count there. I saw some counts on like 20 days to go, some 15 days to go. So one of the benefits is for training programs. So there are some like communication amongst employees, ICT. Do you understand? Different programs like that. So employers and employees will be able to benefit from that too, actually.
One last thing. Now, with all those programs, why do I feel like there's low publicity, or there's even low awareness? It feels like everybody is just concerned about, let me just pay this ITF to avoid wahala. Nobody really knows. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like a lot of people don't know like the benefit that they can get as an employer per se. That this is new to me that they are organizing trainings and all. Me, I've never attended anyone, and I don't even know anybody that's attended before. Do you understand?
Yes. I actually understand you well, and that was what came to my mind also when I saw those programs on their site, on their website. I was like, oh really? Like, they have so many programs out there. So perpetual, we have a lot of work to do, so that is why we are there also, just like you have always created awareness on a number of things, so that's why we are there also, to create awareness for these things, even though it is so that is it basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello guys, it's me again. I know you're enjoying the tutorial and it's been eye-opening for a lot of us, but then I just want to take this few minutes to please ask that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. I am pleading with you to please click on the subscribe button. Please like this video, please comment on this video. These things are actually free, but when you do these things, those are your little way of saying thank you for the effort that we put into creating these videos for you. Please, I'm waiting. Just click on the subscribe button. Please like, please drop a comment. It is actually free to do all of these things. Please, I'm waiting. Okay, have you done that? I'm still waiting. Okay, thank you very much. Let's get right back into the tutorial.
Okay, so was I able to answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
All right. Okay, so let's move on. So I said employees here, Nigerians and non-Nigerians. So definitely, as far as they're in a workplace within 30 days in a single calendar year, so definitely your employer should remit to your ITF. So okay, so registration process, this is it here. So in case your company a company wants to register, so I've made it. So yeah, this is what everyone just needs to do. Let me just go through it. I said, okay, so you apply with a written letter also stating your national number. So you apply with a written letter, ensure all payment has been made up to date, and then after all has been assessed, you can get your complaint. Okay, sorry, there's a little mix up there. So let me just quickly explain the registration process. So you apply with a written letter one, and then the most important thing about the registration, like for everyone, is that jurisdiction is important as every other thing, like jurisdiction. So if your company is on the mainland, you will have to register with any ITF office on the mainland. Don't go to VI or Lekki and say you want to go and register.
I have a question.
If your sorry?
So I have a question. What if we have a company that have like different branches? Are you saying that each branch would register with different ITF offices, or we're just going to use a branch from the head office?
Okay, so for this, the first thing you would do is you would register. So the first thing you do is you would register with the branch office, like the what would I call it? Like the major office. Let's assume your office is in Lekki. Right?
Yeah.
So you register in Lekki. But for you to make payment for other staff that are not within that branch, you would have to register them in other branches too. Because I have a form here with me. Whenever you want to do your returns at the end of the year, so there's a space in the form where so what was written there is that that's what I'm trying to look at now. So it says number of so it says if the return relates to more than one location, so please state below. So you would make your remittances according to the branches like that you have. So when making your returns at the end of the year, so you can consolidate within. Please, am I clear? Is that clear?
Not really. Can you just go over that again? When we're making the returns at the end of the year, I'm not sure I got that part.
Okay, so let me come again. So in simple terms, you are to make your payments you are to register in all the branches, but whenever you want to do your returns at the end of the year, because you would want to get your ITF certificate. So when you want to get that at the end of the year, everything will be consolidated.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. and then paid to one location, one ITF office, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's clear now.
So is that clear, Perpetual?
Yeah,
Sorry?
it is. Yeah, it is.
All right. Okay, yeah. So I think I mentioned something. I said I've mentioned this before, but then I'll come again. I said one of the benefits of religion is that you'll have the opportunity to participate in training programs such as, like I mentioned, I said workshop on advanced contemporary issues in work ethics. I think these are programs in line. So they also have a program now. They have leadership and team building. Yeah. So if one's company has been compliant, so you can actually attend all these programs. So we have performance management for optimum results, ICT management workshops. So all of these programs has been, they've been they're labeled for employers and employees to participate.
Okay.
So just like I mentioned the other time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So are we good?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I'd like to move to the next slide. Yeah, so that's game.
Okay. Yeah, I think we're good.
So we have. Sorry?
Yes, I said we're good.
Yeah, all right. So we have our pension. So just like I mentioned, so I'll have to come back here. Yeah, so we are still on statutory obligations for employer. So we've mentioned that of ITF. So for pension, so this is for pension.
Sorry, just one last thing before you move on from the ITF. Can I just one last question?
All right.
So if you go back to that slide, that first slide that has like the ITF pension and NSITF.
This, right?
Yes, that one. So I think one of the major areas of confusion for a lot of people, I mean, based on questions that people have asked me in the past when it comes to ITF is the 1%, is it 1% of the gross salary or 1% of net pay, right? What 1% are we taking as ITF? 1% of, we said annual payroll, but is it the gross pay or the net pay? I don't know, did you get that?
Okay, so yes, I got that. So for the annual payroll, it is not the net, it is the gross. And then it is the gross. And then we mentioning the gross also, the ITF gave their own definition of payroll. So we would have to follow the definition given to us. Yes. So I can always share this. I have this with me. So they said payroll means the sum total of all basic pay, allowances, and other entitlements payable within and outside Nigeria to any employee in an establishment, public or private. So it has we have all the allowances. So when we are adding up the basic housing, transport, and every other allowance, like even 13th month, just come to think of it, any allowance you can think of.
Anything that you're earning.
So sorry?
I said anything that you're earning should be part of it.
Yeah, anything you're earning. Yes.
Okay.
So yeah.
Please, you would share that document with me because I'm sure a couple of people would want to see it as well.
Yes, I definitely.
Thank you so much.
I'll share it with you. All right. Okay. So that's that about ITF. I don't know if you have any other question on behalf of the community member too.
Mouthpiece. I think that would be all.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So for pension, we also know that it is compulsory. Yeah, so it is compulsory for an organization to register their staff with a PFA, and then so what have we? I said pension is a formal social protection scheme that caters for all employees working in a company. Yeah, so pension is actually very, very important because we all know that it is a life saving actually. Yeah, so you are saving for the future, you're saving for for, will I say, raining days? Yeah, you're saving for the future actually. So it is very compulsory and necessary for employers to put this in place actually, because you just don't want to imagine that after working for 50 to 60 years there's nothing to fall back to. Because I would just say I'll be sorry for any employee who doesn't monitor this actually. Yeah, if you should monitor this, because you might not feel this like now, but it is definitely for the future. Like, how sweet is it when at the end of everything, 50, 60 years, like after your retirement, you can go to your any of your Pencom administrator, go there and then withdraw your money, your millions do you understand? Like millions. So it is that sweet. So for us and for you to be able to enjoy that, so from now we need to be able to ensure that our employers are remitting our pension. So it's a social protection. So we have 2 percentages that are being used. Okay, I already mentioned that initially. So 10% and 8%. So the 10% is borne by the employer, and then the 8% should be deducted from an employee's gross salary. I already mentioned this. I said as an employee, you are required to open a retirement savings account. That's an RSA with an approved pension fund administrator. So I'm sure you must have heard of this already. Pension number for a male usually starts with 1, and that of a female starts with 2.
Interesting. Yeah. This is news to me anyway.
All right. So probably you can go back to check your pension number.
Wow.
And for this, I'm speaking for Stanbic IBTC, but then it should really be all PFAs. Yeah.
Okay.
So for a male 1, and for a female it starts with 2. So we cannot confirm that too from our end. So I have it here. So as far as it is compulsory, they said anything that does not have please, can you help me?
When there is no law, there is no penalty, I mean, something like that.
Yeah. When there is no law, there is no what?
Penalty.
Yeah, penalty. So there's a law, definitely now there's a penalty, right? So duty for making pension contribution 7 working days after salary payment, while the penalty for non-payment is 2% of the unpaid amount. So now what I wrote, I said so you can register with any of these PFAs, and then there's something you can also do too as an employee or an employee. If you want to know that your company is truly under a PFA, so there's a way you can also check that. So please remind me, I'll be showing us that at the end of this class.
Okay.
So so there's a way to check that too. So that's that on that. So for NSITF, so just like pension, we are saving for the future. So for NSITF, just like what I wrote, I said the proactive and employee dedicated government institution committed to the welfare of employees in the event of any work-related accident and injuries. Yeah, so this actually came about because of the negligence of some employers. Yeah, so many casualties had actually happened at in several workplaces and the likes. But then their negligence, not taking responsibilities and the likes, do you understand? So because of this, so that's why we had to come up with NSITF, like National Social Insurance Trust Fund. So just like I said proactive. Fine, no one prays for an accident, no one prays to die, do you understand? So no one prays for any of these, but then it's just a proactive measure on the part of the government, that in case any of this happens, we should be able to come in. And I don't want to say the good part of this is that, let's assume what has been remitted for you as an employer, whatever, let's say it's 1 million, there's a possibility of the fund expending more than that on such an employee. So there's a possibility of expending more than that. So that's that about that. So I said NSITF has evolved from being a PFS. Okay, so what do I mean by PFS? Provident Fund Scheme, to social insurance scheme, and then to ECA, that's what employee compensation scheme. So just like a compensation. Yeah. So I said payroll in NSITF refers to enumeration excluding now. So if we should look at this, so that's the difference with ITF, because so many people might want to use the same calculation for ITF for NSITF too. So this is me telling us that there's a difference in that. So for ITF, for ITF, like I mentioned initially, it is 1% on your payroll. And when we're saying payroll, like your gross, everything, all your allowances, every of your allowances. But for NSITF, so I have like excluding your contribution, your bonus, your overtime payments, 13th month. Do you understand? So that is what gives the difference in computation for ITF and NSITF. So is that fine? Are you with me? So we also, just like we mentioned to initially, that where there's no law, there's no penalty. So here there's a law, so there's a penalty for not adhering to it also. So I said penalty for non-payment is 10% of the outstanding amount. So there is a penalty for not remitting NSITF. So I said, to this end, a bill for an amendment is currently before the National Assembly for passage into law to provide social security services to all Nigerians. And then I'm also buying into this idea, because currently it looks as though it is for employers and employees. Do you understand? So segregating every other aspect. So now there's a law now, like a law, not a law right now. So there's a bill rather, which is to be passed into law, that we shouldn't consider just employees and employers only. So we should be able to provide social security to all Nigerians, which I feel it is actually good. It is fair.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree as well.
It is fair. So for your NSITF certificate, particulars of the business, particulars of the owners of the organization, your business sector categories, and declaration by employer or authorized person. So basically, because hope you know, Perpetua, that most times we have most things by the book, but the most important thing is that once you are compliant, you have your receipts that yes, I've been making my remittances. So you just have to fill the forms and then take your certificate also. Did I just say your certificate? Take your receipts alongside also, that those are the evidences, and then apply. Yes, you apply and then you get a certificate. It's not as hard as it actually seems to everyone out there. Once you've been compliant, you can actually get that. So one thing I would like to say about NSITF also is that they pay attention to jurisdiction also. So you can't say you're in VI and then you register in Lekki. So they are not really like, FRS. Do you know you can be on the mainland and then your tax office is at Ikoyi? Am I right? Yeah. So it's possible that for FRS and the like. But for NSITF, ITF, even NHF, so jurisdiction is very important. So I would like us to always take note of this jurisdiction. So you register within that jurisdiction. So that's that about that. Please,
sorry, quick question.
Yeah.
Quick question. So I wrote this down. So first of all, let me start with ITF. For ITF, when is the deadline for remittance? Is it on a monthly basis or annual? If it is monthly, when is the deadline? If it is annual, when is the deadline for filing a remittance? Then the same question goes for NSITF as well. Is it supposed to be remitted monthly? Is it supposed to be remitted annually? If it is monthly, when is the deadline? If it is annually, when is the deadline?
Okay. Yeah, that's a very good question. And do you know it has always been causing so many has actually been causing so many issues like that outside. Issues. So for ITF, it is actually supposed to be, get this, it is supposed to be remitted annually, actually, because it's just 1% and then you remit. But the organization might now decide to say, okay, because whatsoever once we have annually like 1 million, you can just decide to, you divide it by 12 just to make your remittances, just to make it easier for you to remit, and then probably you don't want to really remit a lump sum or whatsoever, so you can decide to break it down and then remit it alongside every other remittances. So to me, I would say that it is safe to remit when remitting every other remittances, like probably your PAYE, your pension. So it is safe to just remit alongside, because since do you understand? So it is safe to just remit within that window from the 1st to the 10th, actually.
Okay, but for people that want to do annual.
Yes. So if you want to do annual, so definitely 1% is 1% on your annual payroll, and then you make a remittance.
Is there a deadline for the annual remittance?
That's what I would advise, actually. But then I can always still, call, because I have like a number, so I can always still call an official then to still confirm again. But for the remittances I've been doing before now, we just do like a 1% to make the payment and then we're done.
So sorry, I'm not sure I got this part. The annual, if you want to do annual, when is the deadline for that annual? Or there's no deadline? Just try whenever you like.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
So if you want to be you said you can do monthly or annually, right? The remittance, right? So if I want to decide to be remitting annually for my company, is there a deadline to say, okay, the ITF for 2024 has to be remitted on or before this day in 2025, or is there no deadline, or we just do as we like?
Well, see, the answer I'm going to give to this is, they are not like, we do not have like stringent deadlines like that. Do you understand? So what usually make people to make their payment or their remittances is because of the certificates. Companies would always need it from time to time. So whether you like it or not, you would need your compliance certificate and then you would pay. So something would push you to go and make payment. Do you understand? So they are not like stringent, like, okay, you must, and if they're a bit it's a bit minimal compared to FRS.
Okay, that's fine. So I think that's something that applies to NSITF, right?
Yes, actually.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you.
You're welcome. Please, are there any other questions for the employer's part? So
no,
can I go ahead?
Yes, you can, please.
All right. Okay, so I said we have statutory obligations. Let me take this off. Yeah. Statutory obligations for employees includes the following. So I have your pension. So we already considered that of employer, which is 10%. So for employee, 8%. Your PAYE 7 to 24%. So your pension against the BHT, like I mentioned, that's the minimum you can, deduct. So you could, your employer can actually decide to do more than this. Yeah, so we have PAYE from 7 to 24%. So there's a particular band we use. I would show us that as we go on. So that is to be computed against your taxable income. Okay. So we have the NHIS. Well, I don't, let me speak for companies, but to me, I feel most companies don't really use this. Most companies prefer to go for HMO actually. So if you're going
Yeah.
for HMO, they'll be like, so why NHIS? Do you understand? But this is now to my own understanding. Let me explain this. Like, this is to my own understanding now. I was out speaking with someone recently and I was like, okay, NHIS, it is like a relief to me, and then it will reduce my tax payable. So I was not like, okay, so why can't we inculcate like HMO into this? Do you understand? Like, if we should, or someone even asked, like, why can't we inculcate HMO into this? Do you know that if we should, we'll just realize that people are paying taxes of 100 naira, 200 naira, because everybody will want to. Do you understand? So it's actually a way to evade taxing, which we do not advise that. So that is why they just kept it there that, okay, NHI is 5%. But if at all I'm to be in like a gathering or a committee and then I want to speak to this, I still just want to, I would want to say that, okay, we should be able to peg this with our HMO so that at least it can still reduce something. I don't know if you actually understand what I'm trying to say.
Okay, so for me, I'm thinking
if we could peg this, like, we should just give. Sorry?
But the HMO is being paid by my employer, so right? I don't.
Yeah, that's true actually. So it's not from employee. So that's true. That's true.
I think my own major concern,
the burden on the.
I think my major concern with this. I think my major concern with this NHIS is I feel like you're taking a certain percentage from my salary, but I don't ever get to use it. I've not really seen anybody that has gone to the hospital under NHIS. Maybe it is my circle, but I don't know. Like, are there hospitals that actually accept NHIS? You know, the way you will have like HMOs and you go there, tell them you have Reliance HMO or this HMO and all. I don't know. Are there like hospitals that actually, so you just show them your NHIS card? Really?
I think we have a list of companies actually that do that, a list of companies. So you just have your NHIS card and then you go to the, just like HMO, you just go to the designated hospital that accepts that. But it's just that there are limitations to it. That's just it. It's not all hospitals, and one might not be able to get like you know, the kind of care that you you want. So I don't into that. Yeah.
Okay.
So, my thoughts. All right, thanks for contributing to that. And also NHF. So I'll be explaining everything in the next slide.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So steps to complete an employee's monthly tax payable. So I have the steps here. Before now, you wouldn't have to.
Your screen is still stuck at that statutory obligations for employees, including the following. Okay, yeah, showing now.
Is this fine?
Yeah, this is fine.
All right. Okay. So before now, we wouldn't need to compute consolidated salary. It would have just been like, you know, your gross emolument and the likes. But due to several changes that, you know, come into place, so that is why we would have to compute our consolidated salary. Yeah. So we have what have you? I said compute your CRA. So reliefs and allowances are meant to reduce the tax burden of an individual in recognition of his personal financial responsibilities. I also have, I said there are deductions allowed to individual taxpayers in a year of assessment to reduce the chargeable income. So like we have here, CRA is a relief to everybody, to every employee. Yeah. So we also have the formula here in which we'll be using in our computation. So we also have other tax exempts. I said just like what we listed initially. So we have the NHF, the NHIS, that's if the organization does that. We have the pension compulsory. We also have the life insurance premium. So the next step, you ascertain your taxable income. Yeah, so your taxable income, or let's say your chargeable income. So because definitely you are not to calculate your PAYE on your, you are not to charge it against your gross emolument or your, do you understand, or your consolidated salary. So you are to charge it against your taxable income. So this was the taxable income I was referring to here. I wrote PAYE to be charged against your taxable income. So that's what I was referring to. And then once you have your taxable income, you apply it to your income tax rate. Apply your income tax rate. So the income tax rate, like I mentioned initially, we have like the 7 to 24% band. I'll show us that too as we go on with the class. So I said here, I said determine the minimum tax payable. So where the chargeable income obtained above is lower than 1% of the consolidated salary or gross emolument, then 1% of consolidated salary shall be the tax payable per annum. So I would also show us this, like when we're talking about the minimum tax also. Yeah. So yeah. So the last one I have, I said determine monthly tax payable. So it is either you are using the tax band that's from 7 to 24%, so that works, or you are going for the minimum tax payable. So either of the two. So that's why I have the last thing here to be for us to determine our monthly tax payable. So this is actually a simple way. Yeah, this is a simple way to go about it. Once you can follow this all these steps like judiciously, you're fine, you're good to go. So I made an example here, like a sample of a payslip also. So I said kindly check the Excel sheet for the computation. So I'll be showing you my Excel sheet. So for this is not mandatory for you to say, okay, you want to use the same percentage I have here. So this is supposed to be like the discretion of the management of the organization. So your organization might actually decide to use a 50%, a 40%, whatever percentage. But for the purpose of this class, so we did like a 35, 20, 15%, 10, 10, 10. So everything we have here is 100%. So yeah, so let me speak to us now like a layman. Like, okay, we don't really know anything about it, so let me just speak to us like a layman. So whenever you go for an interview and then you are being asked that what would you like to accept as your gross pay or your net pay, so that you wouldn't mix it up. Do you understand? So this is what makes up our gross pay, like this basic housing, transport, utility, data, wardrobe, everything here. That is what makes up our gross pay. And then so this is what makes up our gross pay. So for us to now arrive at our net pay, that okay, this is my net pay. So your net pay will now be your gross pay minus all your deductions. So for the purpose of this class, we just want to make use of PAYE, pension, and NHF for the purpose of this class. So so these are the deductions. And then so for us to arrive at the net pay, so it will be gross pay minus your deductions. So that's your net pay. So how did we arrive at this? I have a simple, okay, so I have to, oh wow, my Excel. So just a minute, let me just open my Excel. So for us, I'll just do a run through. We might not be able to go one after the other. So this is the name I used there. I said this is for Adewumi. Yeah. So this is the gross income for Adewumi, 3,657,000. Just like what I mentioned, I said normally you wouldn't have computed your like another gross income, but due to several changes in the Finance Act, and then there are just changes from time to time. So one of the recent changes is the calculation of gross income for the purpose of CRA.
Yeah.
Are you? Yeah. Yeah. So for the purpose of calculating CRA is a Consolidated Relief Allowance. Yeah. So we have our gross income here. We have our gross income 2 here. So how did we arrive at gross income 2? So for our gross income 2, so what we have to calculate is our gross income 1 minus your pension and NHF. But if your organization were meets NHIS, you have to put NHIS in consideration. And then if your organization does not remit NHF or something, though it is necessary for you to, but if it is just pension, the only thing you would consider when calculating your gross income 2 will be pension alone. But because we considered pension and NHF here, so what will be considered is pension and NHF. So that is how we would arrive at our gross income 2. So going forward, we have, so that's gross income 1, gross income 2. Are we fine? Can I continue?
Yes.
I just want to be sure I'm clear. All right.
Yeah.
So for our Consolidated Relief Allowance, just like I mentioned the other time, is a relief actually. So it is to reduce our tax payable. So we have most times, Perpetua, can you also agree with me that most times it's always the 200,000 we use? So that's why actually just is 200,000. But then I know it's not so safe. 1% of gross income or 200,000. So I have so anyone which is higher, like out of the two. So for the purpose of this class, we are assuming 200,000 is higher. So we are saying 200,000 plus 20% of gross income 2. So please note, it won't be 20% of gross income 1. It will be 20% of gross income 2.
Yeah.
So and then after the calculation, we'll have that here. Like I mentioned, employees' pension, 8% of BHT, that's basic housing and transport. So we have it here. The NHF, 2.5%. So before now, the NHF was 2.5% of basic salary.
Yeah. But
now it is now 2.5% of your gross income. So because of that, NHF is actually for, okay, I just remembered I've not really spoken about. So NHF is basically if you want to buy a building, you want to reconstruct, you want to do like a major renovation. So any of these ones, if you want to do them, you can always you can go to like an NHF office and then tender hits to them. Do you understand? So before now I said it is on basic salary, so now it is on our gross income. So because of that, it is higher. So what you can now get from NHF also is now 50 million. Before now it was 15 million, but now we have like a peg of 50 million. From 50 million also you can also, so it is a progressive one as the computation changed. So what we can also get from them also changed. So are we cool with that? Are we fine? Can I go ahead?
I think one thing I just want to add is that the NHF right now is no longer compulsory for people.
Yes. It's no longer compulsory. Yes.
It's optional. Because me, I've never enjoyed the benefits. I don't know why. So please remove
you might want to buy a building
although how many people do you know that have used their NHF to buy building in this Nigeria?
You might want Nigeria. Yeah, I know, right? I know, right? This is our country, Nigeria. It is well. So after that, so it will have to be your gross income too. So your gross income minus all your reliefs, like your allowances, your reliefs, all this. So that's so it will come about to be our annual taxable income. So how about 2.470? So it is this taxable income I was referring to the other time. I said, okay, this is what we'll be applying our percentages on. Okay. You know, I mentioned a 7% to a 24% band. So let me just take us through this. I want to be very sure that this is clear to us. This is actually clear. It is nothing serious. So coming to this, 7%. Yeah, so the first 300,000 at 7%. So we have that 7% times 300,000. So 11% of our next 300,000. So that goes like that. We have 15%. So this is actually fixed. This is fixed. So 7%, 11%, 15%, 19%, and then we have 21%. So why did we actually stop here at 21%? So let me quickly take us through that. Our taxable income is 2,470,000, like 2.4 million. And then what we have here, we have a 300,000, we have another 300,000. So if we should add this 500,000 and this 500,000, what we would have is 1.6 million, right? Are we together?
Yes, we are.
Yeah. So we'd have a 1.6 million. And then, so let me do a calculation here. So it costs to this minus 1.6. Okay.
Yeah.
Are we together? So we have like an 870,000 naira. So that is what we'll be applying. So we won't be saying 21% times 1,600,000. No, that means we'll be paying more. So we'll say 21% times the balance. So I'm sure we can remember the balance I said. So it is your annual tax income. So that's this 2.4 minus this 1.6. So it is the difference we'll be applying on this. So please, is that clear? And are we together?
Yes, we are.
All right, thank you. So after having all of this, we'll had everything together. So that gives us, sorry, I'm coming just a little.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, yes, we're together. So that gives us our, because we said calculation of tax payable, so that gives us the tax payable for the year. So most times we usually have this in what let's say annual. So what would have to do if you want to get your monthly tax due? So you just have to say this annual divided by 12. So then we'd have our monthly tax due. So 391,848 divided by 12. So we'd have, so this is what we are supposed, or we are to remit every month.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know if that is actually clear.
Yes, it is. Please, we would need a template as well. Or people will come and injure me, my dear.
I know, right?
Template. Yeah.
I know. Okay, so I just said add on here. I said pension form and compliance check. Okay, I think because my system went off the other time, I just pray I'll be able to see that again. Okay, so pension form and compliance check. So if you want to check if your company is compliant, so you can just go to this website. Did I just say this website? So sorry. I would send it to you.
Okay.
It's not supposed to be this. So sorry about that. Yeah. So, but then for ITF form and compliance check. So for ITF, you can actually check if your company is compliant or not. So you can go to this website, you type the name of your company, and you would actually see there if your company is compliant, or probably you are the accountant of the company, and then you want to check your ITF number whatsoever. So you can always you can go to this website, type it, and then you get your company name and your company ITF number. For pension, yeah, there's a site for Pencom. I'll drop that with you. Okay, so I think I have some forms I downloaded here also, just in case. You can always get it online, and if not, I can always send the PDF also to us. I had everything lined up here. It was when my system went off the other time. So
sorry, so you didn't save, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's saved, but to start opening everything. So I have all the forms here. So for NHF, yeah. So just in case we need a form, yeah. So for NHF, yeah, you might not want to stress yourself, like, okay, having too many, going to the office, coming back. So from your office, just try to fill this form before going. Fill the form, and then back it up with a letter that, okay, you'd like your company to be remitting NHF and the like. So just an introductory letter. Sorry, I don't want to bite my tongue. Introductory letter. So just write that and send it to them. So once you send it, they would respond by giving you your NHF number. So it is when you receive it. So this one is for the employer. So your company, your organization, this is what you would fill. So once you are done, you now have to fill this NHF registration form. That this is for the employees. So all the employees would fill this. You affix your passport there, and then so you can just gather everything. So if you don't want to really stress and all those kinds of things, so fill that of the employer. All the employees, give it to everybody to fill theirs. So there won't be any gap in, okay, this is, do you understand? So everybody can fill this. Affix your passport, and then take it to the.
Can I ask a quick question?
Take it to NHS office, and then you are good to go. You can start remitting. Yeah. So then please don't forget it. Yes, it's fine.
Okay, so the way we have pension, that every employee has their pension ID. Is that the same for NHF? Because I'm thinking, if when I was working in my first company, I fill this form. By the time I'm going to a new company, do I need to fill this form again? Or immediately I register with the first company that I work for, will I have an NHF number?
No, it's just one, just like pension.
Okay.
Yes, actually, yes. So just like pension, pension, you have like employer's code.
Yeah.
And then you have employees code also, like your own pension number.
Yeah.
So even though you change your organization, you would still maintain the same. In fact, even if you should change your pension administrator or whatever, it is still the same number you'll be using. So you won't have to. So it is a singular. Yes. So it is just a singular one. You won't change numbers from time to time. No.
Oh, okay.
It is just one. Yes.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Yeah. So yeah, that's it basically. Which other thing? Yeah, so I just want to believe that what we have there is actually clear.
Yeah, it is
clear. I would have to even fight it. All right. So
thank you so much on behalf of everybody that will be seeing this tutorial today, next year, 10 years later. I'm saying thank you so much for your labor of love. We honestly, sincerely can't thank you enough. We're sincerely grateful. Thank you so much. Do you have any final words or last words for us before we close the tutorial for today?
Okay, my final word. Okay, it's just to tell each and every one of us, like myself inclusive, that whatever we find our ends like to do, that we should do it well. We should do it with all our hearts, because that is where those experiences would actually come from. So it is just like my, let me use the word, opening remark. So still the same thing as my closing remark also, that it is just very important and pivotal for us to, even though it is one thing, let's take it to heart, like with the whole of our heart. Let's take it with the whole of our heart, because that is the same thing that would expand. So to someone whom much is given, much is actually expected. So from that little thing that has been given to you, you should be able to multiply it. You should be able to multiply, and that is where referrals will come, because you used that let me use the word one talent judiciously. So that is what I would like to tell each and every one of us. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Thank you, Odun. Enjoy the rest of your evening.